My beloved child, you did not find this message by accident. You may think you simply clicked on another video, scrolled past another title, or paused here out of curiosity. But I tell you, there is something deeper happening in this very moment. There has been a quiet tug in your spirit, a gentle stirring in your heart that you have tried to silence. You have felt it in the stillness of the night, in the spaces between your thoughts, in the moments when everything grew quiet and you could no longer distract yourself. And still, you tried to ignore it. You have been busy. You have filled your days with noise, with responsibilities, with endless scrolling, with conversations that never truly reach your soul. But underneath it all, there has been a whisper. My whisper. A message that refuses to fade. You sense that I was trying to reach you, yet part of you hesitated. Part of you wondered, what if I am not ready? What if I do not want to hear what God has to say? My child, this is not a message of condemnation. I am not here to shame you or expose you. I am here because I love you too deeply to remain silent. There are moments in your life when I speak softly, and there are moments when I must speak clearly. This is one of those moments. You cannot keep pushing this aside. You cannot keep pretending that everything is fine when your heart knows something must change. You have felt the unrest. You have noticed the repetition of certain thoughts, the same questions rising again and again. You have tried to reason them away. You have told yourself it is just stress, just emotion, just coincidence. But I tell you, I have been knocking gently at the door of your heart. Not to force my way in, but to invite you into something greater. There is a reason this message feels urgent. It is not because I am angry. It is because time is precious. Your peace is precious. Your calling is precious. And the longer you ignore what I am revealing to you, the heavier your spirit becomes. I do not want you to carry that weight any longer. My beloved child, I see what you are facing. I see the confusion, the quiet fears, the questions you do not voice out loud. And I am telling you now, do not scroll past this moment. Do not close your heart again. Lean in. Listen closely. This is not just another message. This is my message to you, right now. You cannot ignore this any longer, not because I demand your attention, but because your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of your willingness to hear me. Stay with me. Let me speak. My beloved child, I have been calling you more times than you realize. Not always with thunder. Not always with signs that shake the ground beneath your feet. Most often, I have called you in whispers, in gentle impressions, in repeated thoughts that would not leave you alone. You felt something pulling at your heart, and you could not explain it. That was me. Do you remember those quiet moments when everything slowed down? When you were alone in your room, or sitting in your car, or lying awake at night, and a single thought kept returning. A question about your life. A feeling that something needs to change. A sense that you are meant for more than what you are settling for. You tried to distract yourself, but the thought returned. That was not random. That was my voice brushing against your spirit. I have called you through restlessness. When you achieved what you thought would satisfy you, yet still felt empty. When you reached a goal, but the joy faded too quickly. When you laughed with others, yet felt alone inside. That ache was not meant to torment you. It was meant to awaken you. I allowed you to feel that holy dissatisfaction so you would begin to search for something deeper, something eternal, something that only I can give. I have also called you through repetition, the same message appearing in different places, a conversation that sounded familiar, a song lyric that struck your heart, A scripture you once learned as a child suddenly returning to your memory. You may have brushed it off as coincidence, but I was weaving those threads together. I was surrounding you with reminders of my presence. Even through your struggles, I was calling you. And the disappointment that forced you to pause, and the door that closed when you expected it to open, and the delay that frustrated you. You thought I was withholding something from you, but in truth, I was redirecting you. I was protecting you from paths that would have drained you further. I was steering you gently, even when you resisted my guidance. My child, I know there were times you felt I was silent. You prayed and did not hear an immediate answer. You waited and grew tired. But even in what felt like silence, I was speaking. Sometimes my voice is not loud because I am inviting you to come closer. I wanted you to lean in, to seek me not just for solutions but for relationship. I was teaching you to recognize me in subtle ways. There were moments when your heart beat a little faster for no clear reason. When you felt conviction but could not explain it. Not shame, not accusation, but a gentle awareness that you were drifting from what truly matters. That was my loving correction. I was not pushing you away. I was drawing you back. I have called you through dreams you buried, through talents you set aside because fear convinced you that you were not good enough, through desires that seemed too big or too impossible. I planted those seeds within you, and when they rise to the surface again, it is because I am watering them. My beloved child, I have been patient. I have never forced you. Love does not force. Love invites. And again, I have extended my hand. Even when you turned away, even when you told yourself you would deal with it later, I remained steady. I remained near. And now, here you are, listening. Something inside you finally stopped running. Something inside you decided to pay attention. This is not because you are weak. It is because your spirit recognizes truth when it hears it. I am still calling you, not to burden you, not to overwhelm you, but to bring you home to clarity, to peace, to purpose. The repetition you have experienced is proof of my persistence, and my persistence is proof of my love. You are not being chased by judgment. You are being pursued by grace. My beloved child, I know why you tried to ignore me. I understand the reasons you pushed my voice to the background. It was not because you hate me. It was not because you do not care. It was because you were afraid. You were afraid of what listening to me might require. You were afraid that if you truly heard me, something in your life would have to change. And change can feel like loss, even when it leads to freedom. You built routines that feel safe. You surrounded yourself with what is familiar. Even if it does not fully satisfy you, it is predictable. And predictability can feel like protection. You were afraid of facing parts of your heart that you have kept hidden. There are wounds you covered with strength. There are disappointments you buried under busyness. If you listened closely to my voice, you knew I might gently point toward those places. Not to shame you, not to expose you, but to heal you. Yet healing requires honesty, and honesty requires courage. Some of you feared that my message would mean giving something up. A relationship that feels comfortable but is not healthy. A habit that numbs your pain but also dims your spirit. A dream that is smaller than the one I placed inside you. You thought obedience would shrink your world. You did not yet see that it would expand it. You also feared disappointment. You wondered, what if I respond and nothing changes? What if I trust and I am let down again? My child, you have trusted people who broke your heart. You have believed promises that were not kept. So when I began calling you deeper, part of you braced for hurt. You did not want to risk hope again. I saw the conflict inside you. One part longing for me, another part resisting. You would feel inspired for a moment, then talk yourself out of it. You would sense clarity, then drown it in doubt. You told yourself you were being realistic. You said it was not the right time. You promised yourself you would deal with it later. But later kept moving further away. There were also voices around you, opinions that shaped your thinking, expectations that weighed on your shoulders. You feared being misunderstood if you followed my leading. You feared standing apart. It felt easier to blend in, to silence the stirring in your spirit, than to answer a call that might set you on a different path. And then there was the quiet lie that whispered, "You are not ready. You are not worthy. You have made too many mistakes." That lie was subtle but powerful. It convinced you that my voice was meant for stronger people, holier people, people who have it all together. So you avoided me, not because you did not care, but because you felt unqualified. My beloved child, hear me clearly now. I was never waiting for you to be perfect. I was waiting for you to be willing. You thought ignoring me would give you control. But the more you ignored my voice, the heavier your heart became. The peace you were searching for did not come. The restlessness remained. That is because your spirit knows where it belongs. It was created to walk with me, to hear me, to trust me. I do not speak to take from you. I speak to protect you. I do not call you to condemn you. I call you to complete you. Every time you tried to ignore me, I stayed. I did not withdraw my love. I did not close the door. Instead, I waited patiently, knowing that one day your heart would grow tired of running. And now you are here listening, not because you failed, but because you are ready. Do not be ashamed of your hesitation. It was part of your journey. But now that you understand why you resisted, you no longer need to hide from my voice. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to trust me more than your fear. My beloved child, you have been carrying more than anyone realizes. You smile in front of others. You fulfill your responsibilities. You answer messages. You show up when needed. But beneath that strength, there is a quiet exhaustion that you rarely speak about. I see it clearly. You have been holding together pieces that feel like they are constantly slipping. You try to be strong for your family, strong for your friends, strong for everyone around you. Yet when the day ends and you are finally alone, the weight settles heavily on your chest. You replay conversations. You overthink decisions. You question yourself in ways you would never question anyone else. You told yourself that you could handle it, that you just needed more time, that things would eventually sort themselves out. So you kept pushing forward, even when your heart felt tired. You swallowed your tears because you did not want to seem weak. You carried worries that were never meant to be yours alone. My child, I never asked you to carry this by yourself. The anxiety that creeps in when you least expect it, the sudden waves of doubt, the silent pressure to get everything right, these are burdens you picked up because you felt responsible for every outcome. You believed that if you just tried harder, planned better, controlled more, you could prevent pain. But control is a heavy load. It drains your joy and steals your rest. There are also old wounds mixed into this weight. Words spoken over you years ago that still echo in your mind. Moments when you felt rejected and unseen were not enough. You thought you had moved past them, yet they still influence how you see yourself. So you work harder. You strive more. You prove yourself again and again. hoping to silence that inner voice of inadequacy. But my beloved child, you do not have to prove your worth to me. I see the nights when sleep does not come easily. I see the mornings when getting out of bed feels heavier than it should. I see the silent prayers you do not even finish because you feel too tired to find the words. I see the tears that fall quietly so no one else will notice. Not one of them escapes my attention. You have been trying to be your own savior, trying to fix everything before bringing it to me, trying to clean yourself up before asking for help. But that is not how my love works. I am not waiting for you to solve your struggles. I am inviting you to surrender them. The weight you are carrying was never designed for your shoulders. You were not created to hold the world together. You were created to walk with me through it. When you insist on doing it alone, your spirit grows weary because it is separated from the very source of its strength. My child, lay it down. Lay down the fear of disappointing others. Lay down the pressure to meet every expectation. Lay down the regret of past mistakes. Lay down the anxiety about tomorrow. You have been gripping these things so tightly that your hands are tired. Open them now. I am not disappointed in you for feeling overwhelmed. I am moved with compassion. I am near to you in your exhaustion. I do not look at your weakness with frustration. I look at it with love. Come to me with the real weight, not the polished version, not the edited story. Bring me the messy thoughts, the confusion, the doubt. Let me carry what you cannot. You were never meant to be this strong alone. You were meant to be strong with me. My beloved child, there is a door in your heart that you have kept closed for a long time. You know exactly which door I am speaking about. It is the one you avoid when your thoughts become too quiet. It is the one that holds the memories you would rather not revisit, the truths you would rather not confront, and the desires you are afraid to admit. You have walked past this door many times. You have told yourself it is better to leave it shut. You convinced yourself that opening it would only release pain, confusion, or change that feels too overwhelming. So you locked it carefully. You placed distractions in front of it. You filled your schedule so you would not have to stand before it for long. But I see what is behind that door. Behind it is not destruction. It is healing. Behind it is not shame. It is freedom. Behind it is not rejection. It is restoration. The enemy of your peace wants you to believe that if you open that door, everything will fall apart. But I tell you, if you open it with me, everything will begin to come together. You are afraid because you think opening that door means facing your pain alone. You think it means reliving what hurt you. You think it means admitting things you have tried to forget. But my beloved child, I would never ask you to step into those memories without my presence. I stand beside you, not as a judge, but as your loving father. When you open that door, I walk in first. I bring light into places that have been dark for too long. I bring truth into spaces where lies have quietly settled. I bring comfort where fear has been hiding. Some of you have locked away disappointment, dreams that did not unfold the way you expected, prayers that seemed unanswered, relationships that ended in ways you did not understand. You shut that door because it felt safer to pretend it no longer matters. But the ache remains because those parts of your story still need my touch. Others of you have locked away parts of your identity. Gifts you were told were not important. Passions you were told were unrealistic. Pieces of your personality that others misunderstood. You closed the door because rejection felt unbearable. But I placed those qualities within you for a reason. They are not accidents. They are part of your design. Opening this door also means releasing control. It means allowing me to rearrange what you have carefully organized. It means trusting that my plans are kinder than your fears. That is why you hesitate. You want certainty before you move. You want guarantees before you surrender. But faith begins where certainty ends. My beloved child, you do not have to force the door open with strength. Simply unlock it with willingness. A small prayer, a quiet admission, a whispered, "God, I need you here." That is enough. I respond to sincerity, not perfection. You have spent so much energy guarding that door. Imagine what would happen if you used that same energy to walk forward with me instead. Imagine the light that would enter your heart. Imagine the peace that would replace the tension you carry. I am not rushing you. I am inviting you. The door has remained closed long enough. The healing waiting behind it has been patient. And so have I. Take my hand. Turn the handle slowly if you must. But do not walk away again. What waits on the other side is not something to fear. It is something that will set you free. My beloved child, I know you had plans. You mapped out your timeline. You imagined how this year would unfold, how that relationship would progress, how that opportunity would open. You thought you understood the sequence of events that would bring you peace. And then something shifted. Something interrupted your expectations. Something did not go the way you carefully arranged. You called it inconvenience. You called it delay. You called it disappointment. But I call it a divine interruption. Not every interruption is meant to harm you. Some are designed to save you. Some are designed to redirect you before you walk too far down a path that would have drained your joy. I see roads you cannot see. I see outcomes you cannot predict. When I step in and adjust your course, it is not to frustrate you. It is to protect you. There were doors you desperately wanted opened. You prayed for them. You worked for them. You imagined yourself stepping through them. When they remained closed, you felt rejected. You questioned your worth. You wondered if I was withholding something good from you. But my beloved child, some doors remain shut because what is behind them is not aligned with your destiny. You cannot see the full picture yet. You see a single page. I see the entire story. When I interrupt your plans, it is because I am aligning you with something greater than you could have designed alone. Even the discomfort you feel right now has purpose. Even the confusion carries preparation within it. Sometimes I interrupt your life because you were moving too fast to hear me. Your schedule became so full that there was no room for reflection. Your mind became so crowded that my whisper struggled to reach you. So I allowed a pause. I allowed a shift. Not to disrupt your progress, but to deepen it. You interpret stillness as stagnation. But stillness can be sacred. It can be the space where clarity forms. It can be the moment where your heart resets. When everything slowed down and you did not know what to do next, I was inviting you to sit with me instead of running ahead of me. My child, you fear interruptions because they make you feel out of control. You like to know what comes next. You like to feel prepared. But growth often happens in the unexpected. Strength is built in uncertainty. Trust is formed when outcomes are not guaranteed. I interrupted you because I refused to let you settle for less than what I have prepared. You were about to accept something that looked good on the surface, but would have cost you deeply later. You were about to remain in a space that limited your expansion. You were about to silence a calling that was growing louder inside you. So I stepped in, not with anger, not with punishment, but with love that refuses to let you drift away from your purpose. Divine interruption is not rejection. It is redirection. It is my hand gently turning your face toward a path that leads to life. You may not understand it fully now. You may still feel the sting of disappointment. But in time, you will look back and see my fingerprints in the details. You will recognize how I shielded you from unseen harm. You will understand why certain plans had to crumble so stronger foundations could be built. My beloved child, do not resent the interruption. Embrace it. Lean into it. Ask me why I am teaching you through it. There is wisdom hidden in this pause. There is protection woven into this delay. This is not the end of your progress. It is the refinement of it. And I am closer to you in this interruption than you have ever imagined. My beloved child, I speak to you with tenderness now, but also with clarity. There is something you must understand. When you continue to delay what I am asking of you, the consequence is not my anger. It is your exhaustion. Every time you silence my voice, you create tension inside your spirit. You feel it as restlessness. You feel it as frustration that you cannot explain. You feel it as a quiet sadness that follows you even on good days. This is not punishment. This is the natural weight of resisting alignment. When your life moves in a direction different from what your heart knows is true, you begin to feel divided. One part of you moves forward. Another part remains unsettled. That inner conflict drains your strength. You smile outwardly, but inwardly you feel scattered. Continued delay does not protect you from change. It only prolongs discomfort. The thing you are avoiding does not disappear. It waits. And the longer you postpone it, the heavier it feels when you finally face it. You have told yourself, I will deal with this later. I will listen when I am stronger. I will respond when the timing feels better. But later has a way of turning into regret. Not because I abandon you, but because you sense how much peace you could have experienced sooner. Delayed obedience costs you clarity. You spend energy overthinking decisions that would have been simple if you trusted me. You seek advice from many voices because you are unsure of your own. You question yourself more than necessary. All of this is the fruit of hesitation. It also costs you joy. When you know there is a step you should take, but you refuse to take it, even your blessings feel incomplete. You cannot fully celebrate progress because something inside reminds you that you are holding back. You cannot fully rest because your spirit knows there is unfinished surrender. My beloved child, I am not threatening you. I am awakening you. The consequences of delay are not dramatic disasters. They are subtle drainages of peace. They are slow leaks of confidence. They are quiet distances between where you are and where you could be. The longer you ignore my guidance, the louder your anxiety becomes. The louder your distractions become. You scroll more. You work more. You fill your schedule more. Not because you are productive, but because you are trying to outrun the awareness that I am calling you deeper. And yet, no matter how far you run, my voice remains steady. Delay also affects your faith. When you ignore small promptings, it becomes easier to ignore larger ones. Your sensitivity begins to dull. You question whether you are even hearing me at all. But the truth is, you heard me clearly. You just chose comfort over courage. Comfort is temporary. Alignment is lasting. You may think delay keeps you safe, but in reality, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you circling the same mountain, facing the same frustrations, praying the same prayers without movement. I do not want you stuck. I want you free. My child, the life I am leading you toward is not built on pressure. It is built on peace. But peace requires trust. and trust requires response. The moment you say yes, even in a small way, the tension inside you begins to lift. You do not need to make 10 changes at once. You only need to stop postponing the one step I have placed in front of you. Do not delay love. Do not delay healing. Do not delay obedience. The longer you wait, the longer you carry unnecessary weight. I am not asking you to move perfectly. I am asking you to move willingly. And when you do, you will discover that what you feared losing was nothing compared to what you gained. My beloved child, before you take another step, I need you to hear this clearly in your spirit. I am not here to condemn you. I am not speaking to you because I am disappointed. I am not calling you out to shame you. I am calling you in to restore you. You have known condemnation before. You have felt the sting of harsh words. You have experienced rejection that made you question your worth. Some of you grew up believing that love had to be earned, that approval depended on performance. So when you hear my voice correcting you, guiding you, urging you to change, part of you braces for punishment. But my correction is not rejection. It is protection. There is a difference between conviction and shame. Shame tells you that you are flawed beyond repair. Conviction gently shows you where you have drifted so you can return to peace. Shame pushes you into hiding. Conviction draws you closer to my heart. And I never use shame. When I point out something in your life that needs healing, it is not because I am counting your failures. It is because I see your potential. I see who you truly are beneath the fear, beneath the habits, beneath the layers of self-doubt. I speak because I love you too much to let you remain bound by what no longer serves you. My child, you may have ignored me at times. You may have chosen paths that led to regret. You may have silenced my whisper when it felt inconvenient. But not once did I withdraw my love. Not once did I turn my face away from you. Even in your hesitation, I remained near. When you made mistakes, I did not step back in disgust. I leaned closer in compassion. When you doubted yourself, I did not agree with your doubt. I saw your strength even when you could not. When you fell short of your own expectations, I did not measure you by your weakness. I measured you by my grace. You must understand this. I am not surprised by your struggles. I know your humanity. I formed you. I know your tendencies, your fears, your patterns. And still, I chose to love you completely. If I wanted to condemn you, I would not be speaking with such tenderness now. I would not be patiently guiding you. I would not be reminding you of your worth. Condemnation silences hope. My voice ignites it. The reason you feel discomfort when I speak is not because you are rejected. It is because you are growing. Growth can stretch you. It can expose what has been hidden. But exposure in my presence leads to healing, not humiliation. Do not confuse my urgency with anger. When I say you cannot ignore this message any longer, it is not because I am tired of you. It is because I am eager for your freedom. I see how much lighter you could feel. I see how much clearer your mind could become. I see the joy waiting on the other side of your surrender. My beloved child, you are safe with me. You can bring me your confusion without fear. You can admit your resistance without punishment. You can confess your doubts without losing my love. I am not standing over you with accusation. I am standing beside you with open arms. Let this truth settle deeply within you. There is nothing you could reveal to me that would cause me to withdraw. There is no weakness that disqualifies you from my grace. There is no delay that erases my plan. You are loved in this very moment. Not a future version of you. Not a perfected version of you. you exactly as you are. And it is from that love, not from fear, that I am asking you to listen. My beloved child, one of the greatest battles you face is not around you, but within you. It is the quiet war inside your mind, the place where thoughts rise and fall like waves, the place where fear and faith wrestle for your attention. I see that battle clearly, even when no one else does. Your mind has become crowded. You replay conversations long after they have ended. You imagine outcomes before they even happen. You analyze every detail, searching for certainty. And when certainty does not come, anxiety fills the space. You wonder why peace feels so fragile. You question why your thoughts can spiral so quickly. But my child, your mind was never meant to carry this much alone. It was designed to trust me, not to control every possibility. There are whispers in your thoughts that do not come from me. They say you are not enough. They say you will fail. They say, if you try, you will only be disappointed again. These lies disguise themselves as logic. They pretend to protect you from risk. But in truth, they keep you small. You have believed some of these lies for so long that they feel like your own voice. You no longer question them. You assume they are simply reality. But I tell you now, not every thought that enters your mind deserves your agreement. When I speak, my voice brings clarity, not chaos. Even when I correct you, there is calm beneath it. Even when I challenge you, there is hope within it. Fear rushes. I guide steadily. Fear shouts. I reassure gently. The battle in your mind intensifies when you stand at the edge of change. The moment you consider listening to me fully, doubt tries to pull you back. It reminds you of past failures. It magnifies your weaknesses. It paints the future in dark colors. But remember this, fear often grows loudest right before breakthrough. You have spent so much time trying to silence your anxious thoughts with distraction. You scroll. You busy yourself. You fill every quiet moment with noise. Yet the thoughts return, because the issue is not silence. The issue is alignment. When your mind aligns with my truth, peace begins to settle. Not because every question is answered, but because you trust the one who holds the answers. My beloved child, you are not weak because you struggle mentally. You are human, and your mind is powerful. What you repeatedly tell yourself shapes your reality. If you rehearse fear daily, fear becomes familiar. If you rehearse truth, truth becomes steady. Let me teach you a new rhythm. When doubt rises, pause and ask, is this thought leading me toward peace or away from it? If it leads you away from peace, it is not from me. My guidance may stretch you, but it will never strip you of hope. You are not defined by intrusive thoughts. You are not bound by anxious patterns. You are not trapped in cycles of overthinking. With me, renewal is possible. Your mind can be restored. Your thoughts can be anchored. I am not asking you to control every thought. I am asking you to invite me into them. When you feel overwhelmed, whisper my name. When confusion clouds your judgment, sit with me instead of reacting impulsively. When fear paints worst-case scenarios, remember that I stand outside of time, already present in your tomorrow. The battlefield of your mind is not one you fight alone. I am there, guarding your peace, steadying your perspective, reminding you of truth when lies grow loud. You cannot ignore this message any longer because the war inside your mind will not quiet itself. But with me, the noise begins to fade. With me, clarity replaces confusion. With me, your thoughts become aligned with hope instead of fear. Let me be the loudest voice within you. My beloved child, this is the moment where everything begins to shift. Not because the world around you suddenly changes, but because something inside you decides to respond. You have listened. You have felt the stirring. You have recognized the weight, the fear, the delay. And now you stand at a crossroads. This is your turning point. You may not feel dramatic emotion. You may not hear thunder or see signs in the sky. Yearning points are often quiet. They happen in the stillness of a willing heart. They begin with a simple decision. I will not ignore God anymore. You have been circling the same questions for too long. You have revisited the same struggles, the same doubts, the same hesitations. But now, clarity is rising within you. You understand that staying where you are will cost you more than stepping forward in faith. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. A turning point does not require you to have everything figured out. It only requires surrender. It requires trust. It requires the courage to say, Father, I am ready to listen. I am ready to follow, even if I cannot see the entire path. The moment you say yes, even quietly, something begins to realign. The tension inside you starts to loosen. The confusion that once felt overwhelming begins to organize itself. Not because every answer appears instantly, but because your heart is finally open. My beloved child, I have been waiting for this moment, not with impatience, but with hope. Hope that you would realize how deeply you are loved. Hope that you would see that my guidance is not restriction, but protection. Hope that you would trust me enough to step beyond your fear. This is where new peace begins. This is where old chains start to weaken. This is where your story shifts from avoidance to alignment. And as you step into this turning point, I want you to understand something deeper. This message you are receiving is not only for you. There are others who feel the same tug in their spirit. Others who are silently battling fear. Others who are on the edge of their own turning point. When you respond, when you lean into this message, you become part of something greater than yourself. My beloved child, as you feel this shift in your heart, hear me clearly now. When you sow into what is feeding your spirit, you are sowing into souls you may never meet. I am the one who multiplies seeds into harvests. When you release your support through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description, and even in the QR code before you, you are not giving to a platform. You are lighting lamps in dark places. I declare over you what I have spoken. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you feel the desire rising within you to help this message reach further, that stirring is my invitation. Do not ignore it. Let your generosity become a river that carries my word to hearts that are drowning in silence. This is a prophetic act, not a transaction. As you give, I breathe increase over your household, clarity over your decisions, and peace over your nights. You are not losing when you give in obedience. You are planting in fertile soil. Step into this moment. Toe boldly. Obey quickly. My beloved child, this is your turning point. Do not walk away unchanged. Let this be the day you finally say yes, not just with words but with action. The path ahead is waiting, and I am walking it with you. My beloved child, when you finally listen, truly listen, something beautiful begins to unfold within you. It may not happen all at once. It may not look dramatic from the outside. But deep inside your spirit, a quiet transformation begins. The first thing you will notice is peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on everything going your way, but a steady calm that rests beneath the surface of your circumstances. The chaos around you may still exist. Responsibilities will still demand your attention. Challenges may still arise. But inside, there will be a grounding, and knowing that you are no longer walking alone. When you listen to me, confusion begins to lose its power. The questions that once felt overwhelming start to simplify. You realize that not every answer is necessary right now. You understand that clarity often comes step by step. Instead of demanding the entire blueprint for your future, you begin to trust the next instruction I place before you. Listening changes your posture. Before, you stood tense, bracing for disappointment. You expected things to go wrong. You prepared yourself for failure before you even tried. But when you align your heart with my voice, hope becomes natural again. You begin to anticipate good. You begin to believe that I am working behind scenes you cannot see. My beloved child, when you listen, your decisions shift. You no longer act from panic. You no longer respond from wounded impulses. You pause. You breathe. You seek my guidance before reacting. And in that pause, wisdom grows. Relationships begin to change as well. You start setting healthier boundaries because you recognize your worth. You speak with more gentleness because your heart is no longer defensive. You release the need to prove yourself because you are secure in my love. Listening to me reshapes how you see yourself, and that reshapes how you engage with the world. You will also notice strength rising in unexpected ways. Situations that once intimidated you will feel manageable. Not because you suddenly feel powerful on your own, but because you sense my presence with you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward while trusting me. When you listen, guilt begins to fade. Shame loses its grip. You stop replaying old mistakes because you understand that I have already covered them with grace. Your past no longer defines your direction. It becomes a testimony of growth rather than a chain holding you back. My beloved child, listening also awakens purpose. The gifts you once doubted start to feel alive again. The dreams you buried begin to stir. You see opportunities not as threats but as invitations. You become more sensitive to my nudges, more aware of the ways I guide you daily. And perhaps most importantly, joy returns. Not loud, temporary excitement, but deep, steady joy. The kind that surprises you in small moments. The kind that rises in gratitude for simple things. The kind that whispers, I am exactly where I need to be. Listening to me does not remove every challenge from your life, but it changes how you walk through them. Instead of striving alone, you move with me. Instead of fighting every battle in your own strength, you lean on mine. You begin to understand that obedience is not restriction. It is freedom. It frees you from overthinking. It frees you from comparison. It frees you from the exhausting need to control every detail. My beloved child, this is what waits on the other side of your yes. Peace, verity, strength, purpose, joy. All of it has been near you all along. All of it begins to unfold the moment you decide to truly listen and to trust the voice that has been calling you home. My beloved child, there are things happening around you right now that you cannot see. There are protections in place that you did not ask for. There are battles being handled that you do not even know exist. While you focus on what is visible, I am working in realms beyond your sight. You often judge your life by what is immediately in front of you. If a door closes, you assume it is loss. If a delay happens, you assume it is denial. If a prayer is not answered the way you expected, you assume I have forgotten you. But my beloved child, your perspective is limited by time. Mine is not. I see the road ahead long before you step onto it. There were situations you wanted so badly, yet I allowed them to fall apart. You grieved them. You questioned me. You wondered why something that seemed so right did not stay. But what you could not see were the complications hidden beneath the surface. What you could not see were the long-term consequences that would have weighed heavily on your heart. When I closed that door, it was not rejection. It was protection. There were relationships you prayed would work, opportunities you believed were perfect, paths that looked promising. Yet something felt off or circumstances shifted unexpectedly. My child, I was shielding you from pain you were not designed to carry. I was redirecting you towards something that aligns more deeply with your purpose. You cannot see the timing of your blessings the way I can. You see delay as wasted time. I see it as preparation. While you are waiting, I am building character within you. I am strengthening patience. I am refining your discernment. I am aligning people and opportunities that will meet you at the right moment. If I gave you everything you asked for immediately, you would not be ready to sustain it. Some blessings require maturity. Some answers require growth. Some doors open only when your heart is strong enough to walk through them without losing yourself. My beloved child, there are also unseen blessings already unfolding. Conversations being prepared, favor being arranged, hearts being softened. You may feel like nothing is happening, but that is because much of my work happens beneath the surface. Think of a seed planted in the ground. For a long time, nothing appears above the soil. It seems inactive. It seems lifeless. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing. Stability is being established. When it finally breaks through, it stands firm because of what was built in secret. Your life is in that hidden growth phase in ways you cannot yet measure. You compare yourself to others and feel behind. You watch their progress and question your own journey. But you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Your path is unique. Your preparation is specific. What I am building in you is tailored to the calling I placed on your life. I also see your silent faithfulness. The prayers whispered when no one was listening. The kindness shown when you received nothing in return. The restraint you practiced when you could have reacted in anger. These moments matter more than you know. They are shaping your future in ways that will become clear in time. My beloved child, trust me with what you cannot see. Though when something feels uncertain, I am certain. Trust that when you feel overlooked, I am attentive. Trust that when you feel delayed, I am deliberate. You do not need full visibility to move forward. You only need confidence in the one who sees it all. I am not guessing about your future. I am guiding it. I am not reacting to your circumstances. I am orchestrating them for your good. Rest in this truth. Even when your view feels limited, my vision over your life is complete. My beloved child, now we come to something deeper. You have heard my voice. You have felt the turning point. You are beginning to trust that I see what you cannot see. But there is still something tightening around your heart. It is the fear of letting go. Letting go feels like falling without knowing where you will land. It feels like releasing control in a world that has often felt unpredictable. You have learned to hold tightly because holding tightly made you feel safe. You grip relationships, plans, expectations, timelines. You cling to what you can measure, what you can manage, what you can predict. And I am gently asking you to open your hands. You are afraid that if you let go of what you have been holding, you will lose everything. You fear that surrender means sacrifice without return. But my beloved child, surrender in my hands is not loss. is exchange. When you let go of control, I give you peace. When you let go of unhealthy attachments, I give you freedom. When you let go of false identities, I reveal who you truly are. But you cannot receive with closed fists. You have been trying to secure outcomes by force. You try to make people stay. You try to make opportunities work. You try to make timelines align with your expectations. And when they do not, frustration rises. Anxiety grows. You question your worth. But some things are slipping from your grasp not because you are failing, but because I am removing what no longer fits your destiny. There are relationships you are holding onto out of familiarity, not alignment. There are dreams you are chasing because they once made sense, even though your spirit has outgrown them. There are versions of yourself you are trying to maintain because they earned you approval in the past. Letting go feels like stepping into the unknown. But what you call unknown, I call prepared. You do not see the ground beneath you because you are focused on what you are releasing. If you would look up, you would see my hands ready to catch you. You are not falling into emptiness. You are falling into trust. My beloved child, I understand why you resist. You have been hurt before. You let go once and things did not turn out the way you hoped. You trusted once and felt disappointed. So now you equate surrender with vulnerability and vulnerability with pain. But surrender to me is different. I do not mishandle what you place in my care. When you release control, you are not becoming passive. You are becoming aligned. You are choosing faith over fear. You are acknowledging that my wisdom surpasses your understanding. Holding on has exhausted you. You feel the tension in your chest. You feel the strain in your thoughts. You feel the pressure to make everything work. That pressure was never meant to live inside you. Letting go will feel uncomfortable at first. It may feel like weakness. It may feel like uncertainty. But slowly, you will notice something surprising. Your breathing will deepen. Your shoulders will relax. Your heart will soften. Because you were not created to carry control. You were created to carry trust. My beloved child, you cannot step fully into what I have prepared while clinging to what I am asking you to release. There is more ahead of you than behind you. But to reach it, your hands must be open. Do not fear the space that letting go creates. That space is where I move most powerfully. That space is where new beginnings take root. Release what I am touching. Trust what I am building. And know that in every act of surrender, you are not losing your life. You are finally finding it. My beloved child, while you have been wrestling with visible struggles, I have been working on invisible ones. There are chains around you that you did not even realize were there. Patterns that felt normal. Thoughts that felt familiar. Reactions that felt automatic. Yet many of these were never part of your true identity. You inherited some of these chains. Not by choice, but by environment. You grew up watching certain behaviors. You absorbed certain fears. You learned survival patterns that helped you cope at the time. But what once protected you is now limiting you. I am breaking those chains. Some chains are generational. They are cycles of insecurity, anger, addiction, silence, or self-sabotage that have repeated themselves through your family line. You may have promised yourself you would be different, yet sometimes you see the same tendencies rising in you. That realization frightens you. But do not be afraid. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. You are not destined to repeat every pattern you witnessed. You are not bound to become what hurt you. Other chains are internal. They are beliefs you accepted long ago. I am not enough. I always mess things up. I will never change. These thoughts became quiet agreements inside your mind. They shaped your decisions. They influenced your confidence. They narrowed your vision. But those beliefs are not truth. They are distortions formed by pain. My beloved child, I am dismantling lies you did not know were shaping you. I am weakening strongholds that have quietly influenced your choices. Sometimes this breaking feels uncomfortable. It feels like tension. It feels like exposure. It feels like old wounds surfacing again. That is because chains do not fall off without movement. When you feel resistance rising inside you, it is often because something is shifting. When old habits begin to feel heavy instead of comforting, it is because I am loosening their grip. When you start questioning patterns you once accepted, it is because light is entering spaces that were once dark. Freedom is not always loud. Sometimes it begins as subtle awareness, a pause before reacting, a different choice in a familiar situation, a new thought replacing an old one. These small shifts are evidence that chains are weakening. You may still stumble. You may still feel pulled back toward old patterns. But do not confuse struggle with defeat. Breaking chains is a process. It requires patience. It requires grace. And I am supplying both. My beloved child, you are stronger than you think. The very fact that you desire change proves that you are not defined by your past. The very fact that you feel discomfort in unhealthy patterns shows that your spirit is awakening. There are also chains connected to fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of failure. Fear of being truly seen. These fears have shaped your behavior more than you realize. They have influenced your relationships, your career choices, even your silence. I am breaking those fears at their root. You do not need to fight alone. You do not need to force transformation. Simply continue walking with me. Continue listening. Continue responding. Each step of obedience weakens what once held you captive. You were never meant to live bound by invisible restraints. You were created for freedom, for confidence, for clarity, for peace. What you are experiencing right now is not instability. It is renovation. Old structures are being removed so stronger foundations can be built. Old agreements are being broken so new truth can take their place. My beloved child, trust the process. Trust the stretching. Trust the discomfort. Chains are falling, even if you cannot yet hear them hit the ground. You are not who you were. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. My beloved child, you often look at your life and focus on what has not happened yet. You measure your progress by visible results. You evaluate your journey by what you can hold in your hands. But I need you to remember something important. You have already planted seeds. Every prayer you whispered in faith was a seed. Every tear you cried in surrender was a seed. Every time you chose kindness instead of bitterness, restraint instead of revenge, patience instead of panic, you planted seeds. And seeds do not disappear simply because you cannot see them growing. You have asked me before, where is the harvest? Why do I not see the fruit of my effort? But my beloved child, harvest does not arrive the same day a seed is planted. Growth happens in hidden places first. Roots form before fruit appears. There were nights when you prayed through exhaustion. Days when you kept showing up even though you felt discouraged. Moments when you chose integrity even when no one would have noticed otherwise. Those choices matter more than you realize. You may feel as if your faith has been small, as if your obedience has been inconsistent. But I do not measure your life the way you do. I see intention. I see sincerity. I see the quiet decisions that shape your character. Nothing done in love is ever wasted. Some of you feel like you have been sowing into dry ground. You have given your time, your energy, your compassion, and you have not seen immediate return. It can feel discouraging to keep investing without visible reward. But I am the Lord of the harvest. I determine the seasons. Just because you cannot see fruit today does not mean growth is not taking place. There are blessings forming beneath the surface of your life right now. Opportunities aligning, favor building, relationships being prepared. Even your past mistakes, when surrendered to me, are being transformed into lessons that will strengthen you. My beloved child, you must understand this. You cannot plant seeds of faith and reap despair unless you uproot them with doubt. And even when you doubted, I did not abandon your planting. I covered your fragile faith with my faithfulness. There are seeds of courage you planted when you spoke truth for the first time. Seeds of healing you planted when you forgave someone who hurt you. Seeds of growth you planted when you stepped outside your comfort zone. Seeds of humility you planted when you admitted you needed help. You may have forgotten those moments. I have not. Do not despise small beginnings. A seed looks insignificant in your hand, but within it is hidden potential beyond what your eyes can measure. The harvest you are waiting for carries more weight than the seed that began it. Trust my timing. If fruit appeared too quickly, it would not be strong enough to sustain itself. If answers arrived before you were prepared, you might mishandle them. So I allow seasons. Seasons of planting. Seasons of waiting. Seasons of growth. And yes, seasons of harvest. You are closer to harvest than you think. The frustration you sometimes feel is often the tension between planting and breakthrough. It is the space where faith must deepen before fruit appears. Do not let impatience cause you to abandon what you have sown. My beloved child, keep watering your seeds with trust. Keep nurturing them with gratitude. Keep protecting them from the weeds of comparison and doubt. I am faithful to bring growth in the right season. Your prayers were not wasted. Your obedience was not overlooked. Your tears were not ignored. A harvest is coming, not by accident, not by luck, but because you planted in faith. Stay rooted. Stay hopeful. What you have sown in love will return to you in abundance. My beloved child, there is a quiet pressure that has been weighing on your heart. It whispers that you are late, that you should be further along by now, that others have surpassed you, that you missed your moment. I see how comparison has tried to steal your peace. You look at the lives of others and measure your own against what you see. Their achievements, their milestones, their relationships, their progress. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to believe that you are behind schedule. But who told you that your journey must look like theirs? You are not living on someone else's timeline. You are walking a path uniquely designed for you. The pace of your growth is intentional. The seasons of your life are specific. What looks like delay to you may actually be precision in my hands. My beloved child, you do not see the full picture of other people's lives. You see highlights, not hidden struggles. You see outcomes, not the private battles that shaped them. You assume their path was smoother, faster, easier. But every life carries unseen challenges. Comparison distorts your perspective. It makes you forget how far you have already come. It blinds you to the progress you have made. It magnifies what you lack and minimizes what you carry. You are not behind. You are being prepared. There are lessons you needed to learn before stepping into your next season. There are strengths that had to be developed quietly. There are patterns that needed to be broken before promotion could happen. If you had arrived at certain blessings too early, they would have overwhelmed you instead of elevating you. My timing is not careless. It is compassionate. You measure time by years. I measure readiness by growth. Some of your delays protected you from burnout. Some of your waiting seasons built resilience. Some of your detours shaped wisdom that you will rely on later. Nothing has been random. Nothing has been wasted. My beloved child, you feel behind because you compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 12. You forget that every story unfolds differently. Some stories accelerate quickly. Others deepen slowly. It takes time. Do not envy speed if it sacrifices stability. I would rather build you strong than fast. I would rather establish roots before branches. I would rather form character before recognition. What I am doing in you may not always be visible, but it is valuable. There are also moments when you feel behind because of past mistakes. You think, if I had made different choices, I would be further now. Regret can create the illusion of lost time. But I redeem time. I restore what was misused. I weave even your detours into your destiny. You have not ruined your future. You have not missed your calling. You have not fallen outside of my plan. My beloved child, take a deep breath. Release the pressure to keep up. Release the fear of missing out. You are exactly where you need to be for this stage of your journey. Your pace is not a mistake. Your process is not inferior. Your growth is not insignificant. Trust that I am not rushing you because I value what I am building in you. The fruit that grows slowly often lasts longer. The strength formed over time endures storms better than quick success ever could. You are not late. You are learning. You are not behind. You are becoming. And when the next door opens, you will step through it not with insecurity, but with confidence rooted in preparation. Stay steady. Stay faithful. Your timeline is in my hands, and my timing is always purposeful. My beloved child, there are parts of your story that still ache when you think about them. Opportunities that slipped through your fingers. Relationships that ended in ways you never expected. Dreams that faded when circumstances change. You carry quiet grief for what was lost, even if you rarely speak about it. I want you to know something deeply today. I am a God of restoration. Restoration does not always mean returning things exactly as they were. Sometimes what was lost cannot come back in the same form. But I do not simply replace. I rebuild. I redeem. I restore in ways that are deeper and stronger than before. You think of lost time. Years you feel were wasted. Seasons where you were confused, distracted, or hurting. You look back and way you could rewrite certain chapters. But my beloved child, I can take what you thought was wasted and turn it into wisdom. I can take what felt like failure and turn it into foundation. Nothing surrendered to me remains broken forever. Some of you lost confidence. You once believed in yourself. You once carried bold dreams. But criticism, rejection, or disappointment slowly chipped away at your courage. You began to shrink your expectations. You stopped speaking up. You settled for less than what you desired. I am restoring your confidence, not the pride that depends on applause, but the quiet strength that knows who you are in me. Others of you lost trust. Someone betrayed you. Someone left. Someone did not show up when you needed them most. Since then, you have guarded your heart carefully. You smile, but you hold back. You love, but cautiously. You hope, but with hesitation. I am restoring your ability to trust, not blindly, but wisely. I am healing the places that still flinch when vulnerability feels risky. Some of you lost joy. The lightness you once carried feels distant. Responsibilities grew heavier. Life became serious. You forgot what it feels like to laugh freely, to rest without guilt, to dream without fear. I am restoring your joy, not as a temporary emotion, but as a steady flame that cannot be easily extinguished. My beloved child, restoration is not always instant. It unfolds layer by layer. It requires your willingness to release bitterness. It requires your openness to believe again. It requires trust that I can rebuild what you thought was permanently damaged. There are blessings ahead that will not merely fill empty spaces, they will overflow them. The relationship that ended created space for healthier connection. The opportunity you missed prepared you for something more aligned. The delay you resented protected you from deeper regret. Even the heartbreak shaped compassion within you that you would not have developed otherwise. I do not waste pain. I transform it. When I restore, I often give back more than what was lost. Not necessarily in identical form, but in greater depth. Where you lost shallow approval, I give you deep affirmation. Where you lost unstable relationships, I give you lasting bonds. Where you lost fragile dreams, I give you refined purpose. My beloved child, do not cling so tightly to the past that you miss what I am rebuilding in the present. Lift your eyes. The chapter ahead is not defined by what you lost. It is defined by what I am restoring. Trust that I am weaving together what felt scattered. Trust that what seemed broken beyond repair is being rebuilt in ways you cannot yet imagine. Trust that your story is not a story of permanent loss, but of powerful redemption. You may have lost much, but you have not lost me. And with me, restoration is not just possible, it is promised. My beloved child, there are seasons in your life that felt like storms. Sudden, loud, disorienting. Winds that knocked you off balance. Rain that blurred your vision. Thunder that made you question your stability. In those moments, you wondered if the storm was meant to break you. But I tell you now, the storm was not sent to destroy you. Storms reveal foundations. When the winds rise, what is weak begins to shake, and what is rooted remains. Some structures in your life had to tremble so you could see where reinforcement was needed. Some illusions had to collapse so truth could stand clearly in their place. You prayed for strength, but strength is not formed in comfort alone. You prayed for wisdom, but wisdom is often born in difficulty. You prayed for growth, and growth requires resistance. The storm carried lessons you could not have learned in calm weather. I know there were nights when you felt overwhelmed. You asked me why it had to be so hard. You searched for meaning in the chaos. You feared that the intensity meant abandonment. But my beloved child, I was closer to you in the storm than you realized. When you felt alone, I was sustaining you. When you felt like giving up, I was breathing resilience into your spirit. When you questioned whether you could endure another day, I was strengthening you from within. Storms refine you. They strip away what is superficial. They expose hidden fears. They test your faith. But they also reveal your endurance. You survived what you once thought would break you. That is not accidental. You are stronger now than you were before the storm. You may not see it clearly because you are still recovering. But look back for a moment. Remember how fragile you felt at the beginning. Remember how uncertain you were about your ability to endure. And yet, here you are. The storm did not destroy you and develop you. Some relationships were tested during that season. Some remained. Some fell away. That was not random. Pressure reveals alignment. Those who were meant to stand with you remained rooted. Those who could not withstand the wind drifted away. Even your faith was tested. You asked hard questions. You wrestled with doubt. But wrestling is not rejection. It is engagement. You chose to seek me even when you did not understand. That deepened your foundation. My beloved child, storms also wash away what no longer belongs. Old habits, false securities, unhealthy dependencies. What felt like loss was often cleansing. The storm cleared space for healthy growth. You feared the intensity, but intensity forged resilience. You feared the uncertainty, but uncertainty taught trust. You feared the shaking, but shaking strengthened your roots. Do not resent the storm. Respect what it built within you. You now carry empathy you did not have before. You understand pain in others because you have walked through it yourself. You respond with compassion instead of judgment. You offer encouragement because you know what it feels like to need it. It is strength born from survival. My beloved child, calm seasons will come again. Peace will feel steady. But do not forget what the storm taught you. You are not as fragile as you once believed. You are not easily broken. You are anchored deeper than you knew. The storm was not sent to end your story. It was sent to strengthen your structure. And now, as the skies begin to clear, you stand not as someone who escaped destruction, but as someone who emerged refined. You are still here. You are still standing. And you are stronger than the storm that tried to shake you. My beloved child, in the middle of surviving storms, carrying burdens, and fighting battles in your mind, there is something else that quietly slipped from your grasp. You forgot who you are. Not your name. Not your responsibilities. Not the roles you play for others. You forgot your true identity. Somewhere along the way, labels attached themselves to you. Labels formed by mistakes. Labels shaped by rejection. Labels spoken by people who did not understand you. You began to see yourself through those words instead of through my eyes. You started calling yourself inadequate. Behind. Too much. Not enough. You identified more with your failures than with your growth. You allowed past chapters to define your present worth. But my beloved child, your identity was never meant to be built on temporary experiences. You are not the worst thing you have done. You are not the harshest word spoken over you. You are not the relationship that ended. You are not the opportunity that passed you by. You are mine. Before you achieved anything, before you failed at anything, before you proved yourself to anyone, you were created intentionally, carefully, with purpose woven into your design. I did not form you casually. I did not assign your life randomly. You were grafted with specific strengths, specific sensitivities, specific gifts. Even the parts of you that feel different, even the parts you once tried to hide, were placed within you deliberately. But pain has a way of distorting identity. When you were rejected, you began to believe you were unworthy. When you were criticized, you began to believe you were flawed beyond repair. When you were overlooked, you began to believe you were insignificant. These beliefs did not arrive loudly. They settled quietly. And over time, they shaped how you saw yourself. My beloved child, it is time to remember who you are. You are chosen, not because you earned it, but because I desired you. You are loved, not conditionally, not temporarily, but deeply and permanently. You are capable, not because you never struggle, but because my strength works through your weakness. Your identity is not rooted in comparison. It is rooted in calling. You were not designed to imitate someone else's life. You were designed to reflect my image in a way only you can. When you diminish yourself to fit expectations, you shrink the light I placed within you. There is royalty in your spirit. Not arrogance, not superiority, but dignity. You carry value that does not fluctuate with circumstance. Even when you feel ordinary, you are sacred in my sight. My beloved child, you have been living beneath your identity. You tolerate disrespect because you forgot your worth. You silence your voice because you forgot your authority. You doubt your gifts because you forgot who placed them inside you. It is time to lift your head again. Identity restored changes everything. It changes how you speak. It changes what you accept. It changes what you pursue. When you remember who you are, you stop chasing validation from places that cannot provide it. You no longer beg for approval. You no longer shrink to avoid standing out. You no longer measure your value by applause. You walk with quiet confidence. My beloved child, let me remind you daily. You are not forgotten. You are not disposable. You are not an accident navigating a meaningless world. You are a beloved child walking through a purposeful story. Remember this when doubt whispers otherwise. Remember this when comparison tries to pull you down. Remember this when past mistakes attempt to define you. You are mine, and that identity is unshakable. My beloved child, now that you are remembering who you are, there is one more step that will bring deep freedom to your heart. You must trust me with the outcome. You have learned to trust me in moments of prayer. You have learned to trust me when you feel weak. But trusting me with the final result, that is where your struggle often begins. You want to know how things will end before you commit fully. You want assurance that your obedience will produce visible success. You want guarantees that your faith will not lead to disappointment. That desire is human, is natural to want certainty. But certainty is not the same as trust. Trust begins where control ends. You have spent so much of your life trying to manage outcomes. You calculate possibilities. You anticipate worst-case scenarios. You adjust your expectations to protect your heart. You tell yourself that if you do not hope too much, you will not hurt too much. But guarded hope is not freedom. It is quiet fear. My beloved child, when you obey me, your responsibility ends with obedience. The outcome belongs to me. When you step forward in faith, you are not required to carry the results. That weight is not yours to hold. Think of a farmer who plants a seed. He prepares the soil. He waters it. He protects it. But he cannot force it to grow. Growth is not in his control. It unfolds through forces beyond his hand. In the same way, your obedience is your planting. The harvest is my responsibility. You fear that if you release control, things may not unfold the way you want. That is true. They may not unfold exactly as you imagine, but they will unfold in alignment with your highest good, even if that alignment surprises you. Sometimes the outcome you desire is smaller than what I am preparing. You cling tightly to specific results because you believe they are the only path to happiness. But my beloved child, I see paths you have never considered. I see blessings beyond the scenarios you have constructed in your mind. When you trust me with the outcome, you free yourself from constant anxiety. You stop replaying decisions endlessly. You stop second-guessing every step. You rest in the assurance that you have done what you were called to do, and the rest is in my hands. This does not mean you become passive. You still act. You still plan. You still work diligently. But you release the need to control what follows. You stop attaching your identity to specific results. If something succeeds, you remain humble. If something shifts unexpectedly, you remain steady. Because your confidence is not rooted in outcomes. It is rooted in me. My beloved child, there is deep peace in surrendering the final chapter of each situation. You no longer carry the burden of forcing things to work. You no longer fear every unexpected turn. You no longer panic when timelines shift. Instead, you breathe. You trust. You move forward with courage. You must understand this clearly. I am more invested in your future than you are. I am not careless with your dreams. I am not indifferent to your desires. I am not distant from your struggles. When you release outcomes to me, you are not abandoning your hopes. You are placing them in hands that see beyond today. Let go of the need to know exactly how it will unfold. Let go of the pressure to secure every detail. Do your part faithfully, and then rest. Trust me with the outcome. What I bring forth in your life will not be random. It will be purposeful. And when the results arrive, whether expected or surprising, you will look back and realize that surrender was not loss. It was wisdom. My beloved child, there are chapters of your life that you wish could be erased. Pages you would rather tear out. Moments you replay with regret. If you could rewrite certain scenes, you would. If you could change a certain decision, you would. But I need you to understand something powerful. I am already rewriting your story. You think your story is defined by what happened to you, by the heartbreak, by the failure, by the disappointment. You look at those chapters and assume they set the tone for everything that follows. But I am the author who sees beyond a single page. One chapter does not determine the entire book. There are plot twists you did not expect. There were losses that felt final. There were endings that felt permanent. But my beloved child, I specialize in redemption. I take broken narratives and transform them into testimonies. You see mistakes. I see lessons. You see wasted time. I see preparation. You see detours. I see alignment. The story you tell yourself matters. If you constantly say, I always mess things up, you live as though failure is inevitable. If you say, nothing ever works out for me, you expect disappointment before hope has a chance to grow. These internal narratives shape how you walk forward. But I am inviting you to see your life through my perspective. You are not the main character in a tragedy. You are part of a redemption story. Even the chapters filled with pain carry purpose. That betrayal taught you discernment. That setback strengthened your resilience. That lonely season deepened your dependence on me. Without those pages, your character would not have developed in the same way. I do not waste ink. Some parts of your story may never make complete sense to you. You may never fully understand why certain events unfolded the way they did. But understanding is not required for redemption. Trust is. My beloved child, when you surrendered to me, you handed me the pen. That does not mean you stop making choices. It means your choices are guided by my wisdom. It means your future is not limited by your past. I can weave beauty from ashes. I can bring clarity from confusion. I can restore what seemed irreparable. But you must allow me to continue writing. Stop reading the same painful chapter as though it is the final word. Stop defining yourself by scenes that were meant to teach you, not trap you. There is more ahead. The next chapters may include courage you did not know you possessed. They may include relationships that reflect the healing you have experienced. They may include opportunities that align with your growth instead of your insecurity. My beloved child, you are not stuck in your past. You are moving forward, even when it feels slow. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, I rewrite a line. Every time you choose trust over fear, I shape a new paragraph. Every time you choose obedience over avoidance, a new chapter begins. Your story is not over. Do not let regret narrate your life. Let redemption speak louder. Let grace frame your perspective. Let hope fill the pages ahead. I'm not writing a story of defeat for you. I'm writing a story of transformation. And when you look back one day, you will see that the chapters you once resented became the foundation for strength you now carry. Stay close to me. Keep turning the pages with faith. The author of your life is faithful, and the best chapters are still unfolding. My beloved child, you often look at the journey ahead and feel overwhelmed. You imagine all the changes that might be required. You picture the distance between where you are and where you believe you should be. And because it feels so large, so complex, you hesitate to move at all. But I am not asking you for 10 steps today. I'm asking you for one. One obedient step. Obedience does not always look dramatic. It is not always a public declaration or a life-altering decision. Sometimes it is as simple as choosing honesty in one conversation, forgiving one person, letting go of one unhealthy habit, saying yes to one small opportunity, turning off one distraction, opening your heart in one sincere prayer. Small steps, when aligned with me, carry great power. You underestimate the impact of a single decision. You believe that if it is not grand, it does not matter. But large transformations are built on small, consistent acts of obedience. A mountain is climbed one step at a time. A foundation is built one stone at a time. My beloved child, the enemy of your growth wants you to focus on the entire staircase so that you feel paralyzed. I want you to focus on the next step so that you feel empowered. You do not need to solve your entire future today. You do not need to fix every weakness at once. You do not need to understand every detail of my plan. You only need to respond to the instruction I have already placed in your heart. You know what that step is. It may be uncomfortable. It may stretch you. It may require courage. But it is clear enough that you cannot pretend you do not see it. Obedience unlocks momentum. When you take one faithful step, confidence grows. When you see that I sustain you through that step, trust deepens. And as trust deepens, the next step becomes less intimidating. You have been waiting to feel fully ready before acting. But readiness often follows obedience, not the other way around. If you wait until fear disappears, you may wait forever. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite it. My beloved child, think of a door that requires a key. Obedience is that key. The door does not open because you wish it to. It opens when you respond. Some of you are praying for breakthrough while resisting the small step that leads to it. You ask me for clarity while ignoring the instruction already given. But clarity grows brighter as obedience increases. I will not overwhelm you with the entire path. I guide you step by step because that is how trust is built. There is also something else that happens when you take one obedient step. You begin to see yourself differently. You realize you are capable of change. You realize you are stronger than fear. You realize that progress is possible. And that realization shifts your identity. My beloved child, do not despise small beginnings. Do not dismiss simple acts of faith. Heaven celebrates obedience, even when it looks insignificant to the world. The first step may feel small, but it is powerful because it represents agreement with me. It says, Father, I trust you more than my hesitation. And that agreement moves mountains you cannot yet see. Take the step. Do not overthink it. Do not delay it. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Step forward in the direction I am leading you. I will meet you there. And once you move, you will discover that what seemed impossible was waiting for your willingness. One step. That is all I am asking. And from that step, a new path begins. My beloved child, as you take that one obedient step, there is something I must remind you of with absolute clarity. You are not alone in this battle. You may feel alone at times. You may look around and think no one truly understands what you are carrying. You may even believe that your struggles are invisible to the world. But isolation is a feeling, not a fact. I am with you, not from a distance, not watching passively. I am present in your thoughts, aware of your emotions, attentive to your every step. When you sit quietly and no one else knows what is weighing on your heart, I know. When you fight temptation in silence, I see your resistance. When you choose integrity in a moment that could have gone unnoticed, I witness your strength. You are not fighting unseen battles alone. There are moments when you feel surrounded by opposition. Circumstances press in. Doubt whispers loudly. Old patterns try to pull you backward. You question whether the effort is worth it. You wonder if you have the endurance to continue. But my beloved child, there is more happening around you than you realize. There is unseen support aligned with your obedience. There are spiritual forces working in your favor. There's protection covering you in ways you cannot measure. You are not navigating this journey unsupported. Sometimes I send encouragement through others. A timely word. A message that resonates. A reminder that strengthens your resolve. Sometimes I place people in your life who reflect my love in tangible ways. And sometimes I work quietly within you, strengthening your resolve without outward signs. You measure support by visible presence. I measure it by constant covering. There have been dangers you never noticed because I shielded you. There have been temptations you resisted because I strengthened you. There have been breakdowns you avoided because I intervened. You may never see the full extent of my protection, but it has been active. My beloved child, the feeling of loneliness often intensifies when you step into growth. Not everyone will understand your decisions. Not everyone will walk the same path. But even if others do not fully grasp your journey, I do. You are never walking into the unknown by yourself. When fear rises, call my name. When confusion clouds your mind, pause and invite me into the moment. When exhaustion sets in, lean into my presence rather than withdrawing. You were not created to be self-sufficient. You were created to be connected to me. There are also battles you cannot see that I am fighting on your behalf. Doors being held closed to protect you. Conversations being redirected. Outcomes being shaped. While you focus on the visible struggle, I am handling the invisible one. Trust that you are supported. Trust that when you choose obedience, heaven responds. Trust that your steps are not taken in isolation. My beloved child, do not allow the feeling of loneliness to convince you that you are abandoned. You are deeply accompanied. Even when rooms feel empty, my presence fills the space. Even when your phone is silent, my attention is unwavering. You are not forgotten in this fight. You are not overlooked in your effort. You are not abandoned in your weakness. Stand firm. Continue forward. And remember, every battle you face is one I stand in with you. You are never alone. My beloved child, beneath the adult responsibilities you carry, beneath the strength you have learned to project, there is still a younger version of you living quietly inside your heart. That inner child remembers things your mind tries to forget. That child remembers the moments of rejection, the times you felt unseen, the occasions when your voice was ignored or misunderstood, the experiences that taught you to be cautious, to hide your emotions, to protect yourself from further hurt. You grew up. You matured. You learned how to survive. But survival is not the same as healing. There are reactions you have today that are rooted in wounds from long ago. You fear abandonment because you once felt left behind. You overachieve because you once felt not good enough. You struggle to trust because trust was once broken in your early years. These patterns did not appear randomly. They were formed when your heart was still tender. My beloved child, I was there in those moments, even when you did not recognize me. I saw the tears you tried to hide. I felt the confusion you could not explain. I watched as you built walls to protect yourself. And now, I am gently inviting you to let me into those early memories, not to relive them in pain, but to redeem them with comfort. Healing your inner child does not mean blaming others endlessly. It means acknowledging that certain wounds were real. It means admitting that some experiences shaped you in ways you did not choose. It means allowing me to speak truth into those places where lies took root. You were not too sensitive. You were tender. You were not weak. You were developing. You were not unworthy of love. You were deserving of protection and care. My beloved child, when you react strongly to small situations, when emotions rise quickly, when insecurity surfaces unexpectedly, it is often that younger part of you seeking reassurance. Do not shame yourself for it. Do not criticize yourself for feeling deeply. Instead, bring that part of you to me. Let me speak to the child who felt unseen. Let me comfort the child who felt unsafe. Let me affirm the child who felt overlooked. I am not impatient with your process. I am compassionate. Some of you learned early that love had conditions, that approval depended on performance, that affection could be withdrawn. These beliefs carried into adulthood, shaping how you relate to others and to me. But my love is not conditional. It does not fluctuate with your behavior. It does not disappear when you fail. It does not require you to earn it. Healing begins when you internalize that truth. My beloved child, as I heal your inner child, you will notice changes. You will become less reactive. You will set healthier boundaries. You will respond from maturity rather than from old wounds. You will love others without projecting past pain onto them. This is deep work. It takes patience. It requires honesty. But you are not doing it alone. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, healing deepens. Every time you speak kindly to yourself instead of harshly, healing strengthens. Every time you allow vulnerability instead of hiding, healing expands. You do not have to remain shaped by childhood pain forever. It may be part of your story, but it is not your identity. My beloved child, I am restoring innocence where it was stolen. I am rebuilding confidence where it was shaken. I am replacing fear with security. The child within you is safe with me now. Let me hold what once hurt. Let me mend what once broke. Let me nurture what once felt neglected. You are not only growing stronger, you are becoming whole. My beloved child, there is a blessing hidden within obedience that you have not fully experienced yet. You often think of obedience as sacrifice, as giving something up, as losing comfort, as surrendering control. But obedience is not loss. It is alignment. When you obey me, you are stepping into the current of my design for your life. You are no longer swimming against the flow of your purpose. You are moving with it. The world tells you that freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But you have already discovered that chasing every desire does not bring peace. It brings confusion. It brings exhaustion. It brings consequences that linger longer than the pleasure that caused them. True freedom is found in alignment with truth. Obedience may feel uncomfortable at first because it requires discipline. It requires saying no to impulses that feel urgent but are not wise. It requires patience when you want immediate gratification. It requires humility when pride wants to defend itself. But within the discipline is deep peace. My beloved child, when you choose obedience, you protect your future self. You avoid unnecessary pain. You build trust within yourself. You create stability in areas that once felt chaotic. There is also blessing of clarity. When you obey quickly, your mind becomes less cluttered. You are not constantly debating with yourself. You are not living in tension between what you know is right and what you are tempted to do. The internal conflict quiets. Obedience simplifies your life. You may not see immediate rewards. Sometimes obedience feels unnoticed, quiet, private, but I see every choice, and I respond to faithfulness in ways that unfold over time. Some blessings are external, doors opening, opportunities aligning, favor increasing. But some of the greatest blessings are internal, confidence strengthening, peace deepening, joy stabilizing. My beloved child, obedience builds trust between us, not because I need proof of your loyalty, but because you need experience of my faithfulness. Each time you obey and see that I sustain you, your faith grows. You begin to realize that I am not restricting you. I am guiding you toward what will truly fulfill you. There is also protection hidden in obedience. When you follow my leading, you avoid paths that would have drained you. You bypass relationships that would have wounded you further. You step away from habits that would have chained you longer. You may never know how much pain you avoided simply because you chose to listen. My beloved child, obedience does not make you perfect. You will still grow. You will still learn. But obedience positions you for grace. It keeps your heart soft. It keeps your spirit sensitive. It keeps your path steady. There is a quiet joy that comes when you lay your head down at night knowing you responded to my voice. That peace is priceless. Do not view obedience as a burden. View it as partnership. You are walking with me. You are trusting my wisdom above your impulse. You are choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. The blessing is not always loud. It often arrives quietly. It settles into your life steadily. It becomes the atmosphere you breathe. My beloved child, continue choosing obedience, even when no one applauds it. Continue aligning your steps with my guidance, even when it feels small. There is blessing hidden there, deeper than success, richer than applause, stronger than circumstance. And as you keep walking in obedience, you will discover that what once felt like sacrifice has become the very source of your freedom. My beloved child, there is something gentle yet firm I must say to you now. You have been running from the very thing that will bring you freedom. Not because you are rebellious, not because you do not love me, but because what saves you often first confronts you. You run from honest conversations because they feel uncomfortable. Yet those conversations would heal relationships. You run from discipline because it feels restrictive. Yet discipline would build the stability you crave. You run from vulnerability because it feels risky. Yet vulnerability would deepen the connection your heart longs for. You avoid stillness because silence feels exposing. When everything grows quiet, your thoughts rise. Emotions surface. Questions appear. So you fill the silence with noise. But healing is often found in stillness. My beloved child, what you avoid does not disappear. It waits. And the longer you run, the more exhausted you become. You tell yourself that distraction is relief, that postponing is protection, that denial is strength, but avoidance only delays restoration. There are habits you know are draining you, patterns that keep repeating, situations that feel heavy every time you step into them. Deep down, you know change is necessary. Yet fear whispers, it will be too hard. It will cost too much. It will hurt too deeply. But consider this. Is continuing the same pattern not already costing you? Running from truth may feel easier in the moment, but it multiplies confusion in the long run. Facing truth may feel uncomfortable initially, but it multiplies clarity over time. My beloved child, I am not calling you to punishment. I am calling you to healing. And healing sometimes requires confrontation, not of others, but of yourself. You must look honestly at what is not working. You must admit where you need growth. You must acknowledge where pride or fear has kept you stuck. This is not condemnation. This is courage. There is a freedom waiting on the other side of the conversation you keep postponing. There is peace waiting on the other side of the habit you keep excusing. There is strength waiting on the other side of the boundary you are afraid to set. You do not have to fix everything overnight. You only need to stop running. My beloved child, come back to the place you have been avoiding. Sit with me in it. Invite me into the discomfort. Let me guide you through it rather than around it. The very thing you fear confronting may be the key to your breakthrough. You have been asking me for change, for clarity, for relief. But sometimes the answer to your prayer looks like facing what you hoped would disappear on its own. Do not mistake temporary comfort for lasting peace. Running keeps you in cycles. Facing truth moves you forward. You are stronger than the fear that drives you away. You are capable of growth beyond the patterns that bind you. You are not fragile. You are resilient. My beloved child, I am not chasing you with accusation. I am standing with open arms at the place you keep avoiding. Come back. Stop running from the discipline that will strengthen you. Stop running from the honesty that will free you. Stop running from the surrender that will save you. What you fear confronting is not there to destroy you. It is there to transform you. And I will walk with you through every step of it. My beloved child, pause for a moment and consider this. Out of all the noise, out of all the voices, out of all the distractions competing for your attention, you are here listening to this message. That is not random. You may think it was an algorithm, a suggestion, a coincidence. But I am not limited by platforms or screens. I can reach you anywhere. I can interrupt your scrolling. I can whisper through speakers. I can draw your attention in ways you cannot fully explain. This message found you for a reason. There have been countless moments when you could have moved on. You could have clicked away. You could have dismissed this as just another video, just another voice. But something held you here. Something inside you recognized that these words were not empty. That something is your spirit responding to my call. You have been asking questions quietly. Even if you did not phrase them as prayers, they were prayers. God, what am I supposed to do? Why do I feel this way? Is there more than this? I heard every one of them. And now you are hearing my response. My beloved child, when I want to get your attention, I am patient but persistent. I will repeat themes. I will confirm messages through different sources. I will create moments of pause when your heart is ready to receive. This is confirmation. The things stirring inside you are not imaginary. The discomfort you feel is not pointless. The desire for change is not foolish. You are being invited into deeper alignment. If this message resonates, it is because I prepared your heart to recognize it. If certain sentences feel as though they were written specifically for you, it is because I know your story intimately. You are not one among billions to me. You are personally known. My beloved child, there are seasons when I allow you to wander slightly, to explore, to question. But when it is time to redirect you clearly, I do. This is one of those moments. Do not dismiss it. You have asked for clarity, and clarity often arrives as conviction. You have asked for direction, and direction often arrives as gentle correction. You have asked for peace, and peace often begins with surrender. The fact that you are still listening tells me that your heart is soft. It tells me that you are ready to grow. It tells me that something inside you is awakening. This is not pressure. This is invitation. There are countless messages in the world that entertain but do not transform. I am not interested in entertaining you. I am interested in shaping you, strengthening you, freeing you. You could have ignored this moment, but you did not. My beloved child, trust the timing. Trust the stirring. Trust that I am intentional. This message found you because you are at a crossroads, because your spirit is ready, because your life is shifting, because you cannot continue in the same direction without feeling the tension grow heavier. You are not here by accident. You are here by appointment. Let this sink deeply into your heart. I sought you before you sought me. I reached for you before you fully understood what you needed. This moment is part of your journey. This message is part of your growth, and your response will shape what comes next. Do not treat this lightly. You are seen. You are known. And you are being called forward with purpose. My beloved child, after everything you have heard, everything you have felt stirring inside you, it now comes down to one simple but powerful word: yes. Your yes changes everything. It may seem small. It may feel quiet. It may even tremble as it leaves your lips. But when you say yes to me, yes to trust, yes to obedience, yes to surrender, something shifts in the spiritual atmosphere around you. Heaven responds to agreement. For so long, you have been caught between hesitation and desire. Part of you wanted comfort. Part of you wanted growth. Part of you wanted control. Part of you wanted peace. And that internal conflict kept you standing still. But the moment you say yes, conflict gives way to clarity. Your yes does not mean you understand everything. It does not mean fear disappears instantly. It does not mean the path becomes perfectly smooth. It means you have chosen alignment over avoidance. My beloved child, when you say yes, chains begin to loosen. Not always dramatically, not always visibly, but steadily. Old habits lose some of their grip. Fear loses some of its volume. Doubt loses some of its authority. Because your will has aligned with mine. There is power in agreement. When you resist me, you feel tension. When you agree with me, you feel flow. Your yes opens doors that resistance kept closed. It invites grace into places where striving once dominated. You may wonder, what if I fail after I say yes? My beloved child, your yes is not a contract of perfection. It is a declaration of intention. I do not expect flawless performance. I respond to sincere surrender. Your yes gives me permission to lead you more clearly. It signals readiness. It tells me that you trust my wisdom above your own fears. And trust unlocks favor. There are blessings that require cooperation. Not because I withhold them, but because your heart must be positioned to receive them. Your yes positions you. It positions you for peace and chaos. It positions you for wisdom and confusion. It positions you for courage and uncertainty. My beloved child, your yes also impacts more than just you. When you align your life with my guidance, you influence those around you. Your peace becomes visible. Your growth becomes noticeable. Your stability becomes contagious. People may not understand the source at first, but they will see the change. You underestimate the ripple effect of your obedience. One yes can alter the trajectory of your family. One yes can shift generational patterns. One yes can open opportunities you never imagined. This is why the decision matters. You have stood at this crossroads long enough. You have weighed the options. You have felt the tension of delay. Now is the moment to respond. My beloved child, do not let fear talk you out of destiny. Do not let comfort keep you from calling. Do not let doubt silence your agreement. Say yes. Say yes to healing. Say yes to growth. Say yes to discipline. Say yes to surrender. Say yes to trust. It may feel simple, but it is sacred. Your yes is not lost in the air. It is heard. It is honored. It is activated. And once you say it, you will begin to see doors open that once seemed blocked. You will feel peace settle where anxiety once ruled. You will sense strength rising where insecurity once lingered. Your yes changes everything, not because of the word itself, but because of the one you are saying it to. Say it now in your heart, and watch what unfolds. My beloved child, now that your heart has whispered yes, it is time to step forward, not timidly, not halfway, but with quiet confidence in what I have already prepared for you. You often pray for open doors, but when they begin to appear, you hesitate at the threshold. You question whether you are ready. You wonder if you are qualified. You ask yourself if this opportunity is truly meant for you. But I do not prepare doors for you to stand outside of them. There are spaces I have designed with your name written across them. Rooms where your voice will matter. Assignments that align perfectly with your growth. Connections that will nourish rather than drain you. You may not see the full picture yet, but preparation has already been taking place. While you were healing, I was arranging. While you were growing, I was aligning. While you were questioning, I was orchestrating. My beloved child, stepping into what I have prepared requires courage. Not loud, dramatic courage, but steady trust. It requires you to stop disqualifying yourself. It requires you to stop shrinking in rooms I have called you to fill. You are not stepping into these spaces by accident. You are not arriving there by luck. You are walking into environments shaped by my timing and your obedience. There will be moments when you feel stretched. Moments when you are learning quickly. Moments when you feel slightly uncomfortable because you are expanding. Do not mistake stretching for misplacement. Growth often feels unfamiliar at first. Remember when you first faced storms. You did not think you would survive. Yet you did. Remember when you first confronted old wounds. You were unsure if healing was possible. Yet it began. The same will be true as you step into what I have prepared. You are not walking alone into these new spaces. I go before you. I prepare hearts ahead of you. I soften resistance. I create favor. I open conversations. I guard your steps. Some of what I have prepared may not look exactly as you imagined. It may come in forms you did not expect. It may require flexibility. But trust that I know what fits you best. My beloved child, do not let fear keep you at the doorway. Do not allow self-doubt to convince you that you should stay small. You have prayed for growth. Now growth is calling you forward. Step into new habits that strengthen you. Step into relationships that reflect your healing. Step into responsibilities that stretch your capacity. Step into boundaries that protect your peace. What I have prepared is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to elevate you. There will always be reasons to hesitate. There will always be voices suggesting you wait longer. But you have waited long enough. The preparation season has done its work. The healing season has built resilience. The obedience season has aligned your heart. Now it is time to move. My beloved child, lift your head. Straighten your posture. Walk with assurance. The path ahead is not uncertain to me. It is intentional. Trust that where I lead, I sustain. Trust that what I prepare, I protect. Trust that the doors opening before you are not traps, they are transitions. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into promise. Move forward with faith. The ground beneath your feet is steady. And what awaits you is not random, it is prepared with love. My beloved child, we have walked through many layers of your heart together. You have faced the weight you were carrying. You have recognized the fear that held you back. You have remembered who you are. You have whispered your yes. And now, we stand at the final call. Do not ignore me anymore. Not because I demand attention, but because your peace depends on it. Not because I seek control, but because I desire your freedom. Every time you have turned away from my voice, you felt the tension return. Every time you leaned in, you felt clarity rise. You know the difference now. You cannot pretend you did not hear me. You cannot say this was random. Something inside you has shifted. Something has awakened. And that awakening is sacred. My beloved child, do not return to old patterns after this moment. Do not close the door we opened. Do not silence the conviction that is guiding you toward life. Stay sensitive. Stay responsive. Stay willing. When fear whispers tomorrow, remember what you felt today. When doubt tries to resurface, remember the truth we uncovered. When distractions attempt to pull you away, pause and recall that you are deeply known and deeply loved. You are not leaving this message the same as you arrived. Carry this awareness with you. Walk differently. Speak differently. Decide differently. Let your yes continue beyond this moment. Let obedience become your rhythm. Let trust become your foundation. And as this message settles into your spirit, understand something deeper. The words you received today are not only for you. There are other hearts standing at their own crossroads, desperate for clarity, hungry for hope. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link waiting in the description, and even in the QR code provided, you are not supporting a channel, you are fueling a harvest. I declare over you what I have spoken. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. When you feel the nudge to give, that is my spirit inviting you into partnership. Do not hesitate. Let your generosity become oil that keeps this light burning for souls who feel lost in darkness. This is not a donation. It is a divine response. As you release your seed, I release provision over your life, stability over your home, and favor over your future. Step into this act boldly. Sow with faith. Obey without delay. My beloved child, this is my final blessing over you. May your mind be steady, your heart be soft, your steps be guided, and your spirit be at rest. May you walk in confidence, anchored in love, unshaken by fear. I am with you. I have always been with you, and I will never leave you. Amen.